back. I know you're wondering, where has this girl been? What's happening? And I have a perfectly good reason. So I'm going to start with explaining what happened. That was before the festive season. So I had like a lot of content. I took all the content that I needed, but I didn't have like space in my phone, so it was hard to like edit. And then so many things were happening simultaneously, like my well-being, my mental health was going through a phase. I was just trying to figure out what I really want to do. I was feeling really clouded and not sure. So I was like, okay, let me put a halt on it, and there'll be time. I'll get back to it. There'll be time. And after that, New Year's happened, and then there's something about the beginning of the year where you have like too much deaths happening, and that's exactly what was happening in my family. And so I was just like, okay. And then something else happened. I had been thinking about this from last year, that I would eventually leave social media, that it wasn't really my scene or whatever. And then I finally got the conviction I needed. Obviously, because I kept thinking about it, I attracted this information. So I watched a documentary on Netflix, the section where you find award-winning films. It was a documentary, yeah, A Social Dilemma, that was the name. And they were just talking about, it's really a dilemma, because there are some benefits to this social media, but you have to really be on top of your game. And then there's a lot of negatives which they didn't foresee coming. But also after they because this documentary is done by people who worked at Google, who worked at Facebook, at Instagram and whatnot. And so they're like, we tried to talk about this and we didn't get the reaction we expected to get. It seemed to them like, there were ethical lines that were just being crossed, and they felt like, okay, so we're going to leave. They quit, and they're like, oh, how else can we help this situation? It was clear to them that the owners of these companies and the investors were more interested in the financial part of everything, the finances, and therefore they just kept quiet and ignored it. But for me, that just told me that, you know what, am I in a position where I can really handle myself on social media? I do try to and the illusion we have that, oh, I choose what I follow. But then you create this whole world where there's only that you see, and you're not exposed to other things. But also you can't really control the amount of exposure if you don't control what you see. It's like you really need to watch the documentary. When I was done, I just decided I'm not yet at that place where I can really control it. I can post something positive, but majority of my time, if I'm being honest with myself, when I look at majority of the time it's being spent on scrolling. And yes, I'm downloading information, but what time will I use that information that I'm downloading if I'm just on social media? So I'm just like, you know what, I'll just let it go for now, and later I'll come back if I have to. But for now, let me do this. So I got off Facebook, I got off Instagram, and I got off TikTok. Oh my gosh, it was so painful. Especially TikTok, but I did it. So with YouTube, I have more control because I get to choose what I type in. I can ignore the suggestions, and because it kind of pulls a bundle, you're not on it too much. And then with WhatsApp, you communicate with people, and I've always had more control over that. But the others, I was just trying to be honest with myself, and I dropped them. So that's what's been happening. And how has it been since I left those other social platforms, I realized how addicted I was. Okay, I'm still going through it. I won't even lie to you. I'm still going through it. And I find myself cheating. I'll explain how. So I noticed that every time after I was done with scrolling on my WhatsApp, checking statuses, you've replied to messages, I would automatically close that app and go straight to Facebook. So every time I close WhatsApp, I realize, oh, there's nowhere to go. And then, okay, then I have to decide now, okay, what will I do? So I either go to a book or I just put the phone away and decide to do something else. Because I'm like, okay, I really need to be off this. Every time I do that, I press back and then I realize I wanted to go to Facebook. Then I'm quickly reminded that this is why you left and find something to do. So that's what I do. And then the ways I cheat is on YouTube. Sometimes you can press on a reel and it will give you, and you know, the next one, you start scrolling for a bit. And some of those things that you find there are things that are on TikTok or on other platforms. And so you get that little dopamine hit and then you're like, oh crap, this is why I left these platforms. So I have to keep catching myself. Honestly, you just have to keep catching yourself and deliberately telling yourself, let me do something else. So that's been the last couple of months. I met somebody. And we have really been pouring into each other and encouraging each other. So the whole financial idea aspect, he really was encouraging me, like, why are you so afraid of going on with it? Just do it. Continue. Help people change their perspective on money, because it could really be helpful to somebody, and that's what matters. It's about helping somebody. So I was like, okay, then I guess I should really get back onto this. This will also, me being off social media, the other platforms, I feel like some of the benefits are I'm going to stop comparing myself too much with others. That's what always pushed me back, held me back from posting, because I kept comparing. So I'm gonna stay away from comparing and I'm just going to post as often as possible. And then deleting the apps created space in my phone. And also, when I don't have, like, you know, you don't get to do the things you want to do sometimes because you're on social media thinking you're just learning, but you're not doing what you should do. So now that I don't have to be online, I have time to make the videos, to do the research, and to edit. And so that's what I'm gonna be doing. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing, you guys. And I'm really sorry for not being consistent, and I really am going to be consistent from now on. I'm going to be consistent. So, like, don't give up on me. Be patient with me. Let's do it together. You know, living actual life and then trying to share it. It's a hard balance, because you really still need to get money, and you're not yet at a place where you can get money off this other side. So bear with me, but I'm really going to keep pushing until I am as consistent as possible. So that's going to be once a week, a video. That's the plan. The next video, we're going to get into the financial aspects. Also, I don't plan to limit myself to just financial discussions, because I'm passionate about many things, about psychology, human behavior, social welfare, and the Bible. I'm so excited about the kingdom message. I'm also interested in being your divine feminine self. Just trying to get more aligned with what God wants for me, and trying to help as many people as I can on my journey. You know, I want to help people. That's the whole idea of, like, being a social worker, I always knew I wanted to help people. And then being a counselor, oh my gosh, if I can just listen, I wanted to do that. And then plus, I know how important finances are to people. And so why not help them see it the way I see it? It's been, I won't lie to you, I when I talk to other people about finances, or when I'm just listening, I can definitely tell that they have more pressure because of how they feel about it. And you could just change how you look at it, and that's what we need. That's what we need. That's the whole idea of all the knowledge that we get, is to change how we look at things. So stay tuned.